And the release is usually at the top. So this case, the Neptune, as confusing as Neptune is at times, it is actually showing us the path, let's say, out of the pressure cooker, out of the uncomfortableness that can come. But I want to just say, with Neptune, the illusions, the veils, I'm seeing something, I'm looking at something, and I'm putting so many stories on it. I'm putting so much meaning to it that might not be there. So first and foremost, keep that in mind with these T-square. Now, if that's not enough for you guys, we need to go to the full moon itself, the degree. Now, which is a little bit annoying for us, is that the full moon itself is happening on the fixed star Ras al-Hag. Now, the ancients, the more traditional ancients, only put a very, very negative meaning to this fixed star. Now, they have a point. Obviously, I'm not saying they don't have a point, but I want to just explain this a little bit, because the ancients were living at a very, very different time, where murders were killing, everything was happening constantly. So obviously you're going to observe more negative events happening. So this is one of the reasons why they are observing these negative events. Not to discredit them entirely and to say, oh, this Ras al-Hag is amazing and no bad things are going to happen, or negative things. Yes, the negative meaning is under this fixed star, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. But remember, there is now new, let's say, we modern astrologer right now in moment, let's say modern astrologer, we are doing new observations. We are taking new notes in our new societal situation. So I'm calling, obviously, myself out. I'm calling all other astrologers out. I'm calling you out as a viewer as well, to see if there is only like this negative energy there with this fixed star, and I'm going to discuss it in a second. So has, you know, a little bit of a Saturn type tendencies, more of those, as well connected to Venus, and again to Neptune, guys. This is quite a bit of a Neptunian influence we have in our full moon this month. So we're going to be more prone to infections, definitely, to toxins, hallucinatory substances. We're going to be taking these in, you know, we can talk about, you know, snake bites, biting from animals in general. We remember, guys, we also have the Jupiter, Aries, Mars combo happening here. So these types of events, insect bites, animal bites, taking in toxins, inflammations, these are the topic right now with this full moon. And I'm urging you to be more careful. You know, maybe do not do things that you don't desperately need to do. Don't, you know, too much risk in nature right now, especially after the full moon leading up to it. There is a lot of that going on. And when we're talking about also the Ras al-Hag, there's a lot about those Venusian, negative side of Venusian qualities. So what are we meaning about Venusian negative side of qualities? Overindulgence with food, overindulgence with pleasure, overindulgence with all of the five senses type of things. And we can also add like this type of shallowness, this kind of only looks types of things into the list as well. So these are going to be, you know, we're going to be dealing with this. You're going to be seeing it during the full moon, and after the 2 weeks period, definitely you're going to be seeing it outwardly. It's almost like too much of the good side of life, the five senses. I need to have this food, I need to have this drink, I need to have this thing. And
Right. Because the thing is that when I see this strawberry super full moon, this there was actually a total solar eclipse happening 18 months ago at around the same degrees, 23 degrees of Sagittarius. So for audiences who's got that, I think it's December 14, 2020, total solar eclipse, if at 23 degrees of Sagittarius, it aspects or highlights a very prominent part of your chart, this is like a continuation of that journey. So whatever that total solar eclipse activated 18 months ago in mid-December 2020, things will become or unfold to its full bloom state over this strawberry super full moon. And I also want to mention here that Sun and Moon both squaring Neptune. On one hand, yes, it can be very psychically very permeable in terms of a period in our psyche. And this may drain our vitality because it's a full moon, everything's projected outwards, outside of us. And this can be psychically very overwhelming when middle of June actually hits us. And there may be also this sense of confusion that as if like something is foreboding or taking over our whole life. There can be this kind of like tsunami kind of wave of feeling. Or it can be this kind of hard to explain inner discontentment because Neptune is about divine discontent. And hence you may kind of be a glutton for self-punishment, which is also Pisces. But then there can be this kind of, oh, poor me, right? Poor me, you know, this kind of energy that may come forth. But one thing I want to add regarding that, was it Russell Hogg, whatever it's pronounced, that fixed star at 20.
I'm
20
not sure
either.
either. I'm not sure either how you pronounce it.
At 20 over degrees of Sagittarius. What really struck me is that it's very close to the triggering point because I've been doing an alternative study of what actually triggered that Russia-Ukraine thing. And for this one, I actually tracked, okay, this is a very, seldom discussed part of astrology. I actually looked at the nodal axis of Mars. And back then, when the Russian-Ukraine war actually started, guess where the south node of Mars is? Is very close to that 23-degree point of Sagittarius. And that point is also like a crucial point because I think Putin's Mars is at 26 of Sagittarius. And it's triggered by the transit south node of Mars. And that Mars in Putin's chart is somewhat linked to Zelensky and also the Ukraine chart. And I find that this is almost like painting to me that's like a turning point because we're talking about a super full moon. So anything that super full moon comes, everything bubbles to the surface and everything's in full bloom to be seen. Maybe there's a turning point to things over this strawberry full moon. I'm not sure. But since it's a super full moon, things can go anywhere, as particularly when it's a super full moon in Sagittarius. It's a mutable sign. Things can go crooked either way, okay? Or there can be like a undermining of associations, talking about perhaps NATO as well. Pertaining to that, there may be a lot more like propaganda or fake news because that's what the full moon, both with Sun and Moon both squaring Pisces, Neptune in Pisces can be about. There'll be like propaganda in full force. So you may want to look out for that. But more importantly, if I were to look at the main, I would say, cluster of conjunctions over this super full moon, I can't look away from that Mars and Chiron conjunction within the same degree in Aries. Mars and Chiron conjunct, this can be assertively reaching out to those who need help and healing, but doing this in an often subtle, indirect way that can be quite effective. Or this can be working to build a new world order. Just putting it out there. But we have the ability to transform destructive energies into constructive ones. as well as apply destructive energies